That's
All right.
hilarious.
I am welcoming Rina Jensen to the podcast. And here we go. We got some things to say today.
We definitely have some things to say today.
So let's not just assume people know who you are. Um,
But
tell
why?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you don't know Rina, then I don't know who you've been paying attention to, but so you are the you're part of the U crew.
Mhm.
You're with U conferences. So, but we've known each other. I think we just had our 5-year Facebook anniversary,
I think I think that's right. Yeah.
and I can never remember how we met, but
Oh, I can.
but you do. Yeah. See, I never remember it. So go ahead.
Do you want me to tell that story?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so at that time, I owned a little retail store called Domicile.
Yes. Yes.
And one of the people on your Lime Life team was going to have a party at the store, which I had people do on occasion. And it was just the three of us. Nobody showed up.
Yeah. Nobody came. Not a single solitary person came to the party. But we
Nope.
learned we had a lot in common there. And I was surprised. I remember now, gosh, I don't know why I cannot recall that. But every time I'm like, I don't know how I met Rena. Probably. We found out we had a lot in common, that we've got a lot of mutual friends, and we both were riding Harleys at the time.
Yeah.
Neither of us ride them much anymore. I still have mine,
I do
but
not.
mine hasn't seen the light of day in a minute.
Yeah, I hadn't mine hadn't seen the light of the day in a few minutes, so I just went ahead and sold it.
My husband would love it if I made that choice, but I can't. I'm very attached to her.
I get it.
um, it's mine. No one else can have it. If I saw somebody else riding that bike, I would probably burst into tears.
Yes.
So,
I,
maybe I'll
I
go sell it in Wisconsin or something.
yeah, I think I would feel the same way. And I sold mine locally, but I have not seen it. So either they painted it or they sold it outside of the area because I have not seen it.
Cool. So for people that don't know, you helped start U conferences with me. And it's funny because we can't really recall exactly how that happened, but the further down the road we go, the more I seem to pull bits and pieces of information, and really kind of remember like the catalyst of it being talking about having been to other similar events, conferences, women's direct sales conferences, different things that we'd been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of came down to, we said, well, we could do this here,
Right.
and we could probably do it better. So let's
Right.
do that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. And then it started. And I was, it's so funny how it is. I was very afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Very afraid of of booking it, booking the places, booking the meals, booking like all of the things that had to be paid for.
Mm-hmm.
I was really afraid of booking it because I was really afraid I was going to be stuck with the bill. And I was a lot stuck with the bill.
But not the first year. The first year, I think we broke even.
We came real damn close. We wouldn't have had, I think then my husband, who was a sponsor, I don't think he really agreed to any amount of money, but he printed most everything for next to nothing.
He did. That's true. Yes.
And we did talk a few people into buying tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly we gave a lot of tickets away, which
Yeah.
I was like, well, we might need somebody to like hold the bathroom door open for people, so they should get a ticket.
Right. Yeah. It was butts in seats.
Butts in seats. We wanted
butts in seats. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy. We just got done with our last conference. We haven't even had a time to debrief yet at all about it.
No.
And we'll resist from doing that here today. But at this last conference, I mean, the energy was
amazing,
insane, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have now gone through and watched three of the breakout sessions, just listen to them, the recordings. We've not got professional replays done yet. So if you're listening and you're like, I didn't know there were replays. Well, if you have the Hoova app, if you already had a ticket, there are replays sitting in there now for you to watch. but otherwise we will have replays for anybody that wants to see them and for purchase later. But yeah, the energy, even the people virtually said the energy was wonderful.
Off the charts.
Yeah. Which now I don't know about you, but I have a hard time feeling, well, no, you don't. I have a hard, I already answered my question. I have a hard time feeling that energy in the moment of running the show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't though.
No. I have all the energy, the leading up to it, and then the day of, and then the day after is legit a post-conference hangover. I cannot function. All of my energy is expended the day and a half.
The way mine works is especially on the day of and the day before, you know, the days leading up, and I can only focus on what I have to do right now. Yep. And that's just where my focus has to be. And then I start to see little fires and things, and then I can go focus on that, and I just put them out. But it's hard for me to read the room, and it always has been hard for me to read the room. Like, for all I know, they're as stressed out as I am.
Nope. No one else is stressed out, just the committee.
It's not a bad stress. It's just like, we just really want it to be everything we promised it would be.
Yeah.
Kind of stress, right?
Yeah. And it always is, because nobody else knows what's happening behind the scenes typically. And they don't, like I wanted to start us on time. And then you come in and like, hey, why don't you just let me run the show?
Well, there was a lot happening on the other side of the wall that you didn't know. Vice versa, the people in that room so let me just tell you, this is so funny what she's talking about. So at the end of session 2, we had a session that started dreadfully late, bad technical logical problems. So it starts dreadfully late, you know, she's gone way over. We have a half an hour to get everybody lunch, and then Rina is going to speak at 12:10, like to finish up lunch and do what we're going to announce for you today. And I see 12:10 approaching. There's this group that's not out of their session yet. And I'm standing there. I'm standing there at the doorway, and I can hear out of this side of my ear, out of the left side of my ear, I hear them saying, has everyone been through the lunch line, or are we cleaning up? And I was like, no, I have 30 people here that have to go through lunch. Anyway, so I hear that on this side of my ear. On the other side of my ear, I hear a voice on the microphone in the main room, and I know I'm the only one with the microphone.
Nope.
So who the hell's talking in there? And I'm like, what is going on? So I have to be like, no, I have these people that are coming for lunch. And I go in there, and I literally am at the back to the tech people, and I'm like, who the hell's talking? And it's you having a great time with
I was having so much fun.
You had a Britney Spears microphone on.
It was amazing.
And I was like, trying to turn my mic on because I'm in the back to get your attention. Like, Rina, I'm announcing you. It's not your turn. You just need to let me run this show. And you were like, oh, damn it.
I was having so much fun. I get so excited, as you know. I get so excited, and I'm like, we have to be on time. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, we're just going to be on time. That's the only thing that matters. Let's just be on time.
The room's empty, but
I was looking around the room thinking, this doesn't seem as full as it did earlier, but maybe they're still in the lunch line. It's okay. It'll be fine. We just have to start on time.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then you gave a series of announcements.
I did.
And that's what we're going to talk about today, because people need to know about this. We're actually already at a point where I think from the attendees alone, we may not have to talk about this a whole lot more than this, which is amazing. But we'll talk about the first thing first. We'll talk about, and I'll tell you before you say anything, that I did get some feedback from people saying, you don't have to apologize so much. This all makes so much sense. But I was so worried about people being angry about this choice.
I mean, because this is our 7th conference. So we've set the expectation of course we're going to be concerned that people are angry or
Yeah.
disappointed, at least not angry.
Yeah. Somehow feeling like we're not staying true. So in the past, we've had
Yeah.
2 conferences a year, in March and in October. And it didn't start off, I mean, the intention was not to do 2. The intention was to do 1 in March after everybody's New Year's resolutions had worn off and they were cold and tired of hibernating and all of that. That was kind of the intention. Let's get together after all that's done. And then after we got that done, you were like, well, let's do it again.
And you're like, what? I'm like, yeah, October. So we could do the push for the last quarter of the year and get everybody motivated to do their things and meet the goals and all that.
Yeah. And I mean, it made sense. So that's what we've done. And I've loved that because it continues the cultivation of community, which is one of our primary values,
Absolutely.
Cultivating community, giving solopreneurs, small entrepreneurs, or just people that need a community, the opportunity to have somebody to tap back into. So sometimes those yearly conferences you go to, you don't see the people again for another full year. It's like going to summer camp as a kid. You all changed a lot in that time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we're not striving for the same things sometimes. And we're not, we may have meant to connect with somebody and then we didn't. So there were lots of reasons to do what we did at the beginning. And there are lots of reasons to do what we did this time too.
So tell people what the announcement is. I'll let you rip the Band-Aid off again.
Okay. Yes, I took the heat the first time, which was not hot. We are moving from 2 conferences per year to 1 conference per year because we are going to start doing lunch and learns on a quarterly basis.
So basically a lunch. So, and our singular conference year will be in March. We decided to not compete with conference season, which tends to be end of summer and into fall. Mm-hmm. So it'll be end of March as the first one was, so we can deal with snowstorms. I think weather and football play less of a role in kids' activities in March. It's all kind of slowed down.
Unless it's 2018 and we have our very first conference, then weather plays a huge role. But yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, warm weather doesn't play a role, or like, people aren't on vacations, or it's usually, at least for our community, it's right after spring break. So anyway, so Lunch and Learn is basically going to be an hour and a half long opportunity to have, like, our conferences have breakout sessions. So essentially a breakout session once a quarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
So June, September, and December. So it'll be the first Thursday of the last month of the quarter. So consider March like the first thing, our conference, and then June will be our first Lunch and Learn of the year, September and December. And we have all of those dates set, and we have the first Lunch and Learn and the December Lunch and Learn well defined already. And then I don't know if we want to talk about what we're going to do in September.
Yeah. Well, tell them what's happening in June and December first.
Okay. So June, Teresa Jensen with Onward Bank, who was a huge sponsor for the conference this year, is going to do a session on essentially time management, being the boss of your life. And she is a phenomenal speaker. She's a phenomenal workshop leader, facilitator as well. So I'm really excited to have her be on our stage. And then in December, Lori Wiles, who with Lori Wiles Design, who is just an amazing woman and so incredibly talented in many, many ways. She is going to discuss with us your space. And I don't have that full summary available to me yet, but we'll definitely be getting it out to you guys on all the platforms. But she's got the December session. She's also, I was about to spill the beans.
No, not yet. I know.
Not yet.
And we are planning to make these available virtually. They won't be free virtually, but we won't have to pay for your lunch. So might be the virtual ticket might be a little less.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. I haven't exactly decided how all this is going to go yet, but a lot of people do still want virtual options, whether they can make it in person or not, or whether they're local or not. And so we can make that happen easy enough. So we're going to honor that. We do. And you know, it's scary to do these hybrid events because you think, well, what if nobody comes in person? Well, we have found that there are definitely two types of people, and the ones that want to be there in person want to be there in person.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that would just rather chill at home and eat lunch,
yep.
They still want the information.
Yeah.
So we're
there's a third type too.
Which one?
The ones that want to be there in person but didn't get the early bird pricing first.
Oh dear God, I'm already sweating about it. Honestly, like I'm like, you know, we have to decide, people, how many people are coming to this thing like a year in advance. We got to tell the people, okay, yeah. I'm going to have 300 people. And I think where we'll end up having our conference next, we'll have a little more flex room with bodies in the room.
For more social distancing if we need to. And because of that, because we did have to limit the number of in-person people for this space, but we love what the Hilton did for us, we are going to keep the lunch and learns for the foreseeable future at the Hilton.
Yeah, and the Hilton's on Edgewood and Highway 100 in Cedar Rapids. If you're not familiar, it's a brand new hotel across the Highway 100 from
Fleet Farm.
The Fleet Farm. Yeah. Kind of over in the, what is that? The Transamerica.
Toyota.
Toyota Financial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Over in that area. It's great location. So, okay. So I'm just going to back this truck up a little bit. So we're going to have these quarterly lunch and learns. People can attend, learn things about business, reconnect, do some networking, yada, 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 blase. Okay. Mm-hmm. Here's, that was not enough to convince me for one conference a year.
It was not. Well, before we talk about that, do we want to talk about the September session?
Oh yeah. So, well, here's the part you don't know. So I've been snooping through the feedback in the Whova app from everybody that attended. You're supposed to do feedback. We're sitting at about 5%. I told everybody only about 5% of the people are going to provide feedback, and so far we're right on that. So if you're listening to this and you attended and you haven't filled out that, you know, I actually can't see who filled it out and who didn't because it is all anonymous. There, that is true. I can see a lot of things, but I can't see that. Right. So if you haven't filled out that feedback form, but a couple of people said in your lunch and learn they really enjoyed our banter on the mic when we were arguing over
who's in charge.
Yeah, which we all know who it is.
Me.
Sure. You think what you want. Your face is getting red though. Mine isn't, but it could be the sheer. I've been in a makeup class for the last 2 days. I got a lot of concealer on. So.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But it wasn't enough because I was like, well, there are workshops everywhere. There are lunch and learns all over.
You still haven't, but you didn't finish that thought.
Oh gosh. I did take my medication today. It's just not working.
This is why September is going to be so fun.
So people said, we'd love to see you guys present together. Now we have tried to present at a conference together and that didn't go well. I mean,
it went fantastically well. It just went long.
Yes.
And my keep Kendra in time check abilities have increased since then.
So you say. Well, parched right now.
I understand.
We are going to present together in September, we've decided.
Yep.
We don't know what on yet though.
No, we actually just decided that this morning. I sent her a text not knowing all of that piece. And it was like, hey, maybe you and I should do September.
Do you know what I think it should be?
What?
I think it should be on leadership and mindset with a good cop, bad cop vibe, or like a devil and an angel vibe. Something along those lines.
Okay.
Because we do have such strong polar opposite personalities and we approach leadership very differently. However, we both see a lot of value in like positive intelligence, which is something we both subscribe to very heavily.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking we can like really show off how different personalities can use the same leadership skills and mindset training and to be successful. Maybe something, I don't know, can we do that in an hour and a half?
Oh no. we'll have to fine tune it, suss it out, make sure it poops in a group.
Yeah, poops in a group. God, that's funny. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why she's saying poops in a group. So it was the conference that we presented together, which I think was the second conference. No, it was the second one. The first one we presented separately.
Oh, right.
The second one we presented together. And we were in this part of the conversation was talking about get your shit together. But you said, and if you're not watching the video, if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm sorry you're not gonna be able to see this. But you said poop in a group. Like you did that. And I was like, I never heard this phrase poop in a group before. And apparently I was the only one in the room. I was like, wait, what did you say? Poop in a group?
I did.
This whole conversation. Maybe that's why it didn't go well, because then we got all triggered. And to this day, whenever you say poop in a group, I have to go make the hand motion. Like I have to do it.
So when I made the announcement at the conference on Thursday, I did that for your benefit.
I know. And I was looking at the computer screen. I was talking to the virtual people at the time. I was in the conversation with them. And I looked over and I was like,
yes.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of a conference. I have an important title. Okay. So now we can get on to, one of the complaints that we've gotten over the years is people have said, like, they've talked about maybe we need to do a 2 or 3 day conference, which really not ready.
And it'll drive up the price beyond.
Yeah, it would change things so much. It would drive the price. Part of the reason we do the 1 day with, we have like a half a day, not even a half a day, a few hours the night before. Part of the reason we do that is because we understand that small business owners and that people that are really busy, they like taking a day off is a struggle in and of itself.
Yeah. And they don't have a corporate backer, they're not in the 10,000 employee realm.
Yeah. They don't have somebody that can just do their job for the day. They can do it for a day, but even that's a struggle. And not all of our attendees are business owners. We have a lot of people that work in like B2B type businesses. We have a lot of stay-at-home moms, a lot of people that are thinking about doing something different, maybe people that are thinking about a career change, or they just need like a day to focus on themselves. Our workshop or our breakout sessions, they tackle everything from health and wellness to mindset to leadership to really specific business stuff. So you get to pick what that looks like for you. So, but we are very committed to the small business owner because that's how it started. And that's, that will always be like our primary target market. Will always have that entrepreneurial thing. So some of the feedback we would get was people saying, well, this needs to be longer. Like, I can't really apply this stuff. I can't come one day and then, I kind of flounder after that. I'm not really sure what else to do. I can't change my business in a 1 day conference. And
nobody can. There is not, nobody. You can't even change, even if you aren't a small business owner, you can't take the information that you get in a 1 day or a 2 day conference, or even a 3 day conference, and go back to your regularly scheduled life and implement all of the changes that you want to implement, because our brains don't work that way.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice? Like I talked about that in my talk. What was like, wouldn't it be nice to just learn the lesson and then be able to apply it? Because, and we talked about everything, or I did, and, really serious things, but down to like, why do I never learn the lesson that when it takes more than 10 minutes to get my kids to school? Like, I know, but I take them to school every day. every day. And every day it takes like 20 minutes. And every day I think it's only going to take 10. And every day it stresses these poor children out. They're going to be stressed for the rest of their lives because of it. But we don't learn things and then apply it.
No, we don't. It's 20% of our change, our brain change, is by inspiration, conferences. 80% of our brain change is by actually doing.
That really makes it hard.
But that's why we are doing what we're doing.
Right. So Rina, Kate, I remember the conversation, but I don't remember where we were.
I sent you an email because I dropped the ball. I will take responsibility for the piece that I had in the last conference, and I dropped the ball on speaker interactions.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And so I sent you an email, and I made zero excuses. I was like, I dropped the ball. That it will not happen again, which it's not, because I'm not the speaker liaison anymore. So.
Well, yeah, you were just in a role that wasn't fitting to what you wanted to do. And
right. And so in the email I said, here's what my idea is. I want to talk to you about this because we have these programs available in the community and the surrounding communities, but what they're doing is not the same thing as what we would be doing.
So tell them what it is, and then I want to talk about where it got inspired from.
Oh my God, okay. So we have done the U Academy. And the U Academy is a women's business institute that is focused on whole person development so that your business can thrive. I'm so excited.
So, okay, let's back it up in case people they're like, what the hell does that mean? Right. So if you have been in business for any amount of time, likely you've been sold or thought about attending or have attended some sort of a business boot camp of some kind that kind of teaches you all the things. I'm going to give an example of a really, really good one that I think people should attend, and that is Empower by Godaddy.
Yes.
Empower by Godaddy does, I don't know how long it is. I want to say it's like 8 or 12 weeks.
It depends. There's 2 tracks.
Okay. And I've spoken at them many times. I help teach marketing for them. And what they do is they take like entrepreneurs that are really in the idea phase, typically really brand new. A lot of them don't have customers yet. Some of them don't even have a product yet. Most of them have ideas, and then they walk them through the process of starting their business, getting a business plan together, knowing what kind of things are out there, like funding. They work on, and because it's Empowered by GoDaddy, they do a lot of like marketing and web development and all of this stuff. And they do it in cohorts. They do it in groups. They've gone virtual because of the pandemic, and they do a phenomenal job to answer questions that building a business brings. And I wholeheartedly, if that's the phase that your business is in, recommend that. There's other ones out there that are for different types of businesses at different plans and stages and things like that. But at least the ones you and I have attended, I don't know if we've attended the same ones, but we've attended similar.
Yep.
The problem for me was I never felt like I left with knowing a lot more than I already knew. Mm-hmm. But there was no accountability to get things done. Like you went on Tuesday, and then you're given a homework assignment, and then like the next Tuesday or the next month or whenever you met again, and like by far and large, like 30% of the people did the homework, 30% of the people half-assed it, 30% of the people didn't even look at it. And it made for like a really bizarre circumstance. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they work for you?
Because similar reasons. There was no accountability. There was no, the content that I had hoped to hear or see was not relevant to the stage of my business either. So I have been in business since 2017, but I never put in place the foundational things. I've been winging my marketing. I had been I never had a vision or mission statement. I had never established my core values. So I was just grabbing all the opportunities. Well, that doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And while I was in the class that I had taken, I had listened to the women, the other women that were in that group. And so many of them had talked about confidence or not knowing where to go for certain things or wanting to be able to learn from each other. And that wasn't an option either. And I was one of two solopreneurs. So it's just me doing my business. And the content was built for people that have been in business for an extended period of time, had employees, and it wasn't suitable for my stage of business and my
and your business will likely remain solo for the vast majority of your time. I mean, you may outsource marketing, you may outsource different portions, but like it's not likely that you'll ever have many employees.
Right. Or any.
At least employees. At least if you stay on the track that you're on with what you do as a resiliency coach.
Right.
Is that fair?
And and even for the people that were in there that did have employees, listening to them talk about their employees' lack of confidence or lack of communication or just seeming to not know or understand the direction that their employees needed to be guided for the success of their business. All of that plays in. But so I got hung up on, well, why isn't anybody talking? I mean, aside from what I do, why isn't anybody talking to her about how to help her employee? Why isn't anybody?
Let's be honest. If you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur, it is unlikely that you have learned how to be a manager. You may have been managed, likely poorly, in a previous job. You may not, but man, and I would have told you at 25, I should be the boss, right? Because
totally,
100%, I knew it all.
Yeah.
And now that I actually have an employee and have hired a couple of people along the way, holy shit, that is some psychology that you don't know what you're getting into until you get into it.
Right. And it's not just how to effectively manage or lead people. It is, how do you do that without getting your ego bruised? How do you do that without getting their ego bruised? How do you do that with not being triggered by the things that people are saying or not triggering other people when you don't know what their triggers are? We all have coping mechanisms.
If you're a small business owner and you have an employee, y'all are wearing multiple hats.
Yep.
Like
all the time.
You do not have a cashier.
No. And that was and I don't want to, like, the course that I went through, while the content wasn't exactly what I had hoped it would be, the environment was great. The people in my cohort were amazing, and I still have great connections with those women today. So I don't want to get off that particular subject without saying that I'm thankful for that opportunity. I just know that if something is going to change in how we teach business, I have to do it. It has to be done by us. Because
and in small businesses, you mentioned how often they fail, and
50% in the first year.
And that's just the ones that registered as a business. A lot of us,
right?
A lot of us start off. I mean, I think about it. A lot of us start off as solopreneurs. On our Social Security number, we've never registered that business or even paid taxes on it because we never made a dollar.
Right.
Though there are businesses failing left and right because, like, turning your hobby or your passion into a business sounds great.
Right. Until you have to run it like a business.
Until you have to do it. And then how do you do it? How do you afford it? Because I don't know about you, but so there are some free courses out there or low cost courses out there, but to get into this nitty gritty stuff, I know one coaching program I paid for a few years back was $10,000 for the year. we heard from one of our coaches on the stage at the U conference that her clients are paying her 5 figures, closer to 6 than to 5.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
000, yeah.
Yes, I couldn't remember the number, so I didn't want to say it. Mm-hmm. So there are opportunities out there, but we just didn't fit. We felt like there was a big open gap.
There's a huge open gap. I hate the status quo of business institutes in general. I cannot stand the fact that if you're going to talk to a person about budgeting and there's no addressing that person's personal relationship with money, that they're never going to budget properly, ever. Because we're our business. This whole, this is what I said in the when we announced it. I'm not you, Chad. I didn't have the same experiences. I didn't have the same thoughts and discussions with people that you may have had. So the way that you have always done business doesn't work for me.
Well, it doesn't work for the busy person, especially the busy person that's trying really hard to turn a passion into a business. And I think the other part, it's something, I'm going to go to the interview that you did with your dad. You asked him, how did your business affect your personal life?
Yeah.
And he said, it really didn't. He said,
no, he didn't know.
He said, they were the same.
They were the same.
And he goes, I've never really thought about that. And you said, oh, well, should we come back to that? And he said, yeah, I don't know how to answer that, which if you and your business are that close together, it's affecting your personal life
every day. Yes.
And as his daughter, I'm sure. Your personal life.
Can I tell you how much that affected my personal life?
But it's like, I mean, there is so much that goes on. And I know, the last 6 months of my business, I have lived more in this office than I have in the rest of my house, because I've had to, there's seasons of putting your head down. But if I didn't have some of what we're going to be teaching in this academy, I know I would have had to have quit. I would have had to have quit. And if I didn't have like that tribe around me, the people that are, you and the rest of the U Academy, my Lime Life team, the people that I've gelled with and bonded with that are like, no, you got this. You keep going. You're going to pick yourself up. Like,
vital.
It's so vital. And that's what we want to provide. So when you sent that email to me, by the way, I forgot that I knew there was a conversation and I've completely forgotten about the speaker thing, but maybe that makes me feel better. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I know, because I have dropped the ball on things too. And you don't forget the things that put you out of integrity. You just don't.
Right.
So I said, this is the thing. I can go to one conference a year now.
Yeah.
That it's the only thing that gives me the peace of mind that we're filling the gap in the community enough. That between the lunch and learns and the academy, there's a huge weight off my shoulders. Because I can't do 2 conferences a year anymore. I physically can't do it.
Well, and I think your husband would appreciate not having 2 conferences per year as well.
It is so much. I never want anybody to feel like the conference is a burden, because it's not.
Burden. Right.
It is not a burden. I have I have bled my own wallet dry to do it. I have bled my time and I have cried tears, and because I know the impact it's making. I know the legacy it's bringing. I know what it's going to do for everybody that walks through those conference doors. Like, I cannot let it go. I can't not do it. But once we hit 100 in-person attendees, that was when I knew I needed help. And I thought, okay, if I got a committee, all these people to help, then I can do it still twice a year. And even when we flipped virtual, I still couldn't. And you'd be shocked at how much a virtual conference costs to put on that doesn't glitch. You would be surprised. It's the bottom line, the cost isn't much different, but I I really knew going into this one, I could not turn around and put another one on in October.
Right.
I couldn't
Well,
do it.
and every time we up the ante, right? This is our 7th conference. Could you imagine what our 10th conference would have been like?
No.
Had we done 2 per year?
No, it would have died because nobody would have stayed on the committee. There's no way they would have been like, this isn't worth it. They would have had to have left or demanded much more of a paycheck than I could have ever provided. So
yeah.
So go ahead.
So the Academy is, so I want to touch on a couple of the things that we are going to be teaching in the Academy, because these are the things that are not taught in business institutes typically.
Well, things first of all, can we address who it's for in case people are listening?
Yes.
And like, get to the point. Is this for me or not? Because it's not for everybody.
It is
not. And we don't even want it to feel like we're trying to recruit everybody to do this. It's not.
No, they're the women that, first of all, women, maybe at some point we'll include men, but for now and for the foreseeable future, women, women that have customers, they have some revenue. Doesn't matter if you've been in business for 6 months or 3 years, as long as you have revenue, you have to be able to
some money of some kind. You're past that idea stage.
You are not in any idea stage whatsoever. But the most important part, you can go to our website, uconferences.com / or / I can't remember which /
U Academy.
/ U Academy.
YOU, we're millennials, we spell, or no, we're Gen Xers, we spell the word out.
Right. U Academy.
YOU.
And then you can see the application, you can see all of the information that we're sharing with you. But the most important piece for the person that the Academy is for, is the woman that is ready to take radical responsibility for her life in order to go to the next level. Because the thinking that got you where you are today will not get you where you want to go tomorrow.
Yeah, people that really feel stuck with growth, or that feel like they're ready to move on, that's what I would say. Mm-hmm. The Academy will meet monthly.
Yep. 4 hours in the morning.
8 a.m. to 12 p.m. At the Geometric Building. Mm-hmm. Huge thank you to Eric Engelman and to Beth over at the Geometric Building for pretty much sponsoring that space for us.
Yeah.
So we'll have to give them some bigger shout outs, but we really appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's on the 3rd Thursday of every month. And so, for those that are still working a corporate job or working some kind of 8 to 5 and you have a side hustle, we understand that is potentially an issue for people. However, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you want to make it happen and you're ready to take radical responsibility for your business, you will figure that out.
Take a half day off or get your employer to pay for it, or right. Also know in the future, for every obstacle or reasons you couldn't make it, this first year we're calling a beta test. Yep. That was one of my demands to Rina, was we're going to do this right. We're not throwing anything together. We're not half-assing it. It's going to be done right and responsibly, and period. And it's not that anybody wanted to do it any differently, but
right.
That's where I'm starting to learn my leadership skills, is that if there's something that I believe in and I want it done a certain way, I got to speak that up. And I think that empowered the rest of the committee that's helping to plan this to be like, yeah, okay, we're doing it right. We're doing it good. And I've been so impressed with the content so far.
I am so excited about the content. So women typically, there's so much research to back this up, and I cannot quote a single one, but women do not negotiate on their own behalf 60% of the time over men, or compared to men.
We are just wired differently.
We are.
And there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong with saying, like, I don't, women are on a 28-day hormonal cycle. Whether you have a period still in your life or not, your body rotates on a 28-day cycle. The work day is developed for men's hormonal cycle. Yep. The 8 to 5 workday was developed because a man's hormone cycle, the testosterone and estrogen that flows through his veins, is on a 24-hour cycle. They start over every 24 hours and we start over every 28 days. There is a massive difference in that chemical stream going through your brain.
Right. And I'm so tired of hearing people say things like, you're being irrational, you're too emotional. I got some words. I've got some words for you. And we're not. It's a cycle. It is, I can tell you exactly when I'm going to be less inclined to people.
Right.
Then I am willing to make
all being incorporated into the academy. And that's why it's for women. Because you need to understand what's happening, why it gets as fundamental as have you ever, when you look yourself in the mirror in the morning and some days you're like, man, I look good. And other days you're like, why do I look like a bridge troll? Like your hormones literally make your face more symmetrical.
Yes.
During days of the month.
Yes. Yes. I have to tell you this quick story. So I was on the PQ group, Team Cheese Stick. And
another thing, don't ask questions.
We ask later if you want to. And after one of our meetings, one of the attendees sent me a text message and she's like, girl, what have you been doing? Like, you have super defined cheekbones. I even have kind of defined cheekbones today, not nearly as much as I did that day, but she's like, you look amazing. And I realized it was because I was in the ovulation phase and my face was like, hey, what's up, world?
That's no joke.
No.
And I thought it was like, I'd heard about that. And I mean, if you want to get real personal, my name's Kendra and I do things to my body. So I don't have a period. So therefore I think I'm a man kind of. And I haven't for like over a decade now. Okay. Maybe we just now found out a little bit too much about each other, but if you've made it this far into the podcast, it's fine. But
strap in, there's more.
Yes. Buckle up, kids. I do makeup videos of my face very up close and I can physically see it now. I can physically see when my face is more, and it has nothing to do with being chubby or I used to always blame it on water weight. Like, it's not it. No. But that's just, I mean, physically, our bodies change as well as mentally and emotionally. And all, you know, all this chemical changes going on from our brains to our guts and everywhere in between. And that when you start addressing stuff like that in business, and then also that your emotions are valid and that also that you can learn to control them, maybe not your emotions, but you can learn to control your responses to emotions. It changes everything in your business.
Yeah. So we're not the experts in this particular area of business, right? So Alex, I just want to, we know people. Alex is her name and she's amazing. And she is actually going to be teaching that in the academy. She's going to be teaching how to harness your cycle for this reason, this whole conversation that we're having right now, because it's so important. But she's also giving a discount on the planners if anybody wants to buy a planner. To the academy members only, to the cohort only. And she's also giving them a 3-month free trial to the app when it comes out.
Yeah, she owns a business called The Agenda Period, and this is what she teaches women to do. So that's a piece of the pie. And then, so we meet monthly from
8 to noon.
Do we start in April or May?
April. We start April 15th.
April 15th through December 16th,
something like that. The deadline to apply is this Friday, April 2nd.
Yeah,
we should probably mention that.
April 2nd. You can go to uconferences.com/uacademy and you can see where to apply online. I guess it's a good time to address the other thing. We're only accepting 10 people into this program.
We're almost half full. Well, we're almost half full based on the applications that we've received so far. We can receive as many applications as people want to apply, but we're only accepting 10 women.
Because again, thoughtful. The funny thing about it is we discussed back and forth. We could do 2 cohorts. But we can't make it about profit this year.
Nope.
because it really we need the people that are attending to know we're giving them a big discount. Like our final pricing after this is all done is not figured out 100%, but this is it'll likely double next year is
at least
our thought. Yes, it'll and it's $1,250 for the year. Yep. This time
for the 9 months.
Yes, for the 9 months. And then there are other perks though besides just meeting once a month. Tell them about office hours, what that means.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So the accountability that we talked about at the beginning, for sure, those of us on the U crew that are participating in this or working on this, we will be available for office hours in between each. So you have the option of seeing us twice per month. If the speakers,
that'll be done virtually.
Yes. If the speakers are available to be on that office hours, then they will be. But because we know we need to talk about these things in between each session. So there's that accountability piece, office hours 2 weeks after the class. And then while you are in the cohort, you get to attend the lunch and learns for free. Only while you're in the cohort, but don't be dismayed because once you're out of the cohort, then you're a U Academy alumni, and alumni get discounts.
We're providing a 20% discount basically to anything that U Conferences does in the future to help to make it easier for you to be a part of future conferences and things like that. And next year's cohort with the higher price may come with conference tickets and things like that. For now, we wanted to make it as affordable as possible because, again, that's our target market. Our target market is to pull people out of that everything being expensive and land them in a place where the next, our real goal for people is the next step is to go join a mastermind group or to join some sort of a coaching group or to understand that what that help and actually does for them. And for now, anyway, U Conferences isn't doing mastermind groups. But we do know a lot of people that do them and do an amazing job and are happy to make those references. But we want you to understand the power of community. But it's hard to be a part of a mastermind group when your poop is not in a group.
It's so true. Look at you getting your poop in a group.
So to make it easier, because I know in my early stages and actually today, partially because it was just conference time, but also because life is what it is, I can't always write a $1,200 check. Right. So we do have payment options available.
Yep.
You can do quarterly payments of $450.
Yep. 3 payments of $450 or 9 payments of $150.
Right. And so that's all available to you. You may want to wait if it doesn't feel right now. You may want to wait and see how people make it through this one. You may want to get on it while the getting's good. Sometimes I find it really fun to be the first to do something.
I do too. And the truth is, if you're put off by a $1,250 price tag, then you're really going to be put off by a potentially double price tag next year. So between those two.
Yeah. Think about it. I mean, of course, there'll be a lot of room for improvement, but we're counting on you guys to help us understand where those improvements need to happen. Yep. Rina, talk a little bit about this being a legacy for you.
Oh God, I can't, I'm going to cry.
Well, hold on. Let me start with this part. So U Conferences, while Rina and I started it together, we've been on a back and forth journey to make it work. Sometimes I'm controlling, sometimes things happen. I don't know, nothing bad happened. Some people have asked me in the past, did anything bad happen? Because there was a while that you weren't helping as much with the conference, and not really, other than I'm controlling and you're a little more passive, but you were at every one. It's not like you. So, but we've discussed so many times that had we not kind of gone our separate ways and figured out what this was, we wouldn't be here.
Nope.
And
it's really easy for me to get caught up in this thing that I'm I'm working on right now. And that's what would have happened with the conference. I could not have gotten any more caught up and focused on creating the next conference with you. That wasn't my destiny. That wasn't my legacy.
It's so funny. This cat just walked behind you in your back screen, and
Yeah.
I'm not used to you having a cat still.
Yeah, so. I still don't have a cat.
Right, but there's a cat in your house. The podcast people are like, what the hell is she getting squirreled by?
Right.
But yeah, it's so. If people don't know, I don't mean to make you cry, but I'm going to say it. So prep, breathe. Rina's dad passed away in January to COVID. He was a prominent business owner in Cedar Rapids for years, sold his business, the Crystal Group, several years ago and retired. And he talked, Rina got to interview him on her birthday.
Yeah, in 2019.
18.
19.
Oh, yeah, 19. Where she got to interview him about, his business. And she asked him about success. And his answer was,
let me clarify. I did not ask him about success. My brother did. I asked the audience, and my brother was the last question, which was amazing and so perfect.
It was. He said, how do you define the success? And he said, well, listen, and the funniest part about this is I can quote this entire thing because I've listened to it a million times because I was looking for this one quote and I couldn't find it. But he said, earlier in his business, he would have defined it monetarily. When I make
$50,000 a year,
this much money, that's success. But he said, the end quote ended up being, if when I die, people are happy with what I created, then that's a success. He said, success feels like legacy. And I don't know if that at the time spoke to you as loudly as it does now that he's passed away. Yeah, hindsight's funny like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even hear it. I'm sure it would have caught me in some way, but I just didn't hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. As an interviewer, you don't always hear everything. Right. On your next question, right?
True.
But right after he passed, that's kind of when this whole academy thing was really starting to come together. And then that interview came back up because, of course, when your dad dies, you want a piece of him back, right? So you go watch the video. It's as close as what you can have to having somebody back. And you told me, you were like, you shared it on social media, and then you and I were talking, and you said, there's a lot of really great quotes in there. And that was the quote about success that I pulled out. And I was like, well, I'm going to use this for something, and ended up using it in my talk for the last conference.
Yeah.
And, the irony of it is the quote and then the photo that I used to talk about legacy. I had asked all the U crew to send me a baby picture. Rina sends me this baby picture of her very 70s looking dad holding a very brand new Rina in his arms. You can't really see Rina. Her little hand was sticking up, but you really can't see her face or anything. And
did you zoom in on that picture?
Yeah. Why?
Did you see my extra pinky?
No. You had an extra pinky?
I had two.
You had an extra pinky on your hand when you were born?
I had two. I had one on each hand.
Well, why didn't you keep that shit? That sounds cool.
All right. So now that I have sufficiently derailed you, go back to your thought.
Yeah. I thought you said something about a finger. I thought you meant you were flipping somebody off. I was like, no, you're not. That's your whole hand.
I had an extra finger. Yeah.
Oh my.
On each hand.
That's a whole new level.
Intimacy.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, she sent me this picture. I needed a picture of her baby face, and it didn't have to be a baby picture, but I was kind of a jerk to her about it in our group message. I was like, that picture's not going to work. Here it's her and her dad. And she's probably like, this is the picture I want to send. It's really the only one I have. And I was like, find something else. You got something from elementary school or something? I don't know.
It was legit the only one I had.
You said you had to get somebody to send
it.
And, but as soon as she sent that picture, I was like, that's the picture I'm putting the legacy with, because, our legacy is about the people that we impact along the way, and about the people that we inspire along the way. And it really starts with our own kin, but it can be but listening to that interview with your dad, it was so much bigger than that. That room was full that day of people that he impacted, from his career, his personal life, people, his employees, and that legacy. So you told me this academy is my legacy, and I see it because I see how hard you work for it.
So there has been nothing since my dad's passing, even the month of January when he was sick before he passed. There's been nothing that I wanted to focus on. There's been nothing that I wanted to do other than put together the academy. It is the only thing.
What was it, the day after he died, we had a meeting and I'm like, Rina, do you want to reschedule? And you're like, I actually don't. I want to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, you do you, but okay.
Right. I mean, it was the only thing I did that day, but it's the academy is, I'm so passionate and excited about everything that the academy is bringing, because it doesn't exist currently, right? There is nothing in the business world that incorporates the whole woman. And there needs to be. It is time. It's past time.
And by the way, this, for anybody listening and wondering, after this is all tested, the academy isn't owned by and isn't going to be owned by U Conferences. The U Academy name is owned by U Conferences in some way or another, but this is something that you want to spread to other places and other things, and do versions for corporations perhaps, or other maybe direct selling companies, or who knows. Like, I'm just throwing things out of midair, not anything that you've said, but it's definitely something that you intend. Like, U Conferences gets it first and we'll get it forever. Mm-hmm. But it's an intention that you want to spread far and wide. Yeah.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's because we can't do the status quo anymore. We can't. Women in general, business owners in general, need to be able to take a real good, long, hard look at themselves. And part of that is because of my experience as the owner of an entrepreneur, or as the daughter of an entrepreneur.
Sure.
Right? Like, I remember saying very clearly to somebody, this is information that I wished my dad had, because our relationship would have been different, because his relationship with my brother would have been different, because his relationship with my stepmom would have been different. Not that they were horrible, they were not, but they would have been different.
And entrepreneurship and family and relationships, it is, I don't know anybody that says, yeah, that's easy, I got that.
Right? And people for so long have been saying, it's business, it's not personal. Well, shove your it's not personal right where the sun don't shine, because it absolutely is personal to the person that is running that business. It's personal to the family of that business owner. It's personal.
Yeah. I know that's one of the issues I still have as an entrepreneur, and especially now as I'm becoming an influencer more in social media, with my body count in social media. I don't know if that's the word for it, but my follower count is over 100,000 people now, and that's amazing.
I didn't know that.
It is, yeah, it's amazing. It's an incredible accomplishment, but with it comes people that don't like you, that have things to say. It used to just be me that didn't like me and had things to say. Right. So I've gotten past that part, and now.
But have you? Because I'm sure you still don't like you on some days.
Oh, sure.
And then you also add all of the other voices.
Yeah. Right. I don't beat myself up like I used to. Right. When I was younger, I've got, positive intelligence is a helpful tool. Yeah. But learning how to filter what people say and what they think, and learning how to determine which comments and opinions you allow in, and which comments and opinions you filter out, or you delete, or you get rid of. All of that is some sort of maturity that everyone, it's so funny. I get a lot of advice on how I should deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing, there's no such thing as deleting it and never looking at it.
Nope.
There's no such thing as not taking it personally.
Nope.
But there is such thing as processing it.
Yep.
And there's a bin for the ones that need processed in a bin. And,
yep.
And then there's lessons for the ones, and learning to determine what to bin and what to lesson is, I wish I could give, and I guess that's what the Academy can start to do for people. That's the gift.
Yeah, that is the gift.
That.
It is. And we've mentioned positive intelligence a couple of times. Positive intelligence will be filtered throughout the entirety of the Academy, because the impact that has, that knowledge has for you personally, for your thoughts and feelings and behaviors, but also for the interactions that you have with other people, it changes everything.
And if anybody, like, I know when I heard the name, it's a book. When I heard the name of the book called Positive Intelligence, I was like, oh, we're just going to have happy, positive thoughts and just pretend like there's nothing wrong. No, not even close. It is definitely highly intellectual. It is highly studied. It is very based in education and psychology. It has nothing to do with just putting on a happy face and pretending like everything's okay, which I think is the problem.
It is a huge part of the problem, for sure. And that's where the radical responsibility comes in. You can't go through this 9-month academy and come out the same.
Not possible.
You can't. No.
Unless you didn't take radical responsibility.
Unless you didn't take radical responsibility. Yeah.
That's not on us. So we should wrap this up because we've been talking for over an hour now.
Awesome.
I know. Well, you can tell the passion. I think, I hope people get that. Wednesday, and I will be going straight to Facebook to get this post on Facebook. It's already in Hoover if you went to the conference, but on Wednesday at 11:30, is that right?
Yep.
We are going to do a Q&A on Zoom. Yep. So if you're thinking about attending, you want to ask some questions, you can pop onto that Zoom at 11:30 Central Time. That'll be on the U Conferences page, and it'll also be on my page and probably Rina's page too. You'll be able to see it in all the places. I'll make us co-hosts or whatever. Yep. Is there anything else you want people to know about this before we wrap up?
Aside from take the step, aside from take radical responsibility, aside from we're doing it different and it's time that we own the way business is done. No, there's nothing else.
You good?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And my whole family thanks you, because we wouldn't be able to continue to do U Conferences correct and with everybody's mental health in mind, my own included, without this. And I think like this marriage of this legacy will be felt for a very long time. And I can't, like, I don't want to fast forward time, but I cannot wait to hear what these 10 people have to say after attending the first cohort.
Me too. Oh, I do actually have one more thing. If there's a concern about being able to pay the entirety, the first payment of the Academy is due on April 12th. So people can plan that. So it's either $1,250, $450, or $150 due on April 12th.
Yeah. And send us a message if for some reason that has to be different. I'm not saying that we can make changes, but we can certainly help you brainstorm if we would love to help you brainstorm and figure it out.
Yeah.
But you said, so for right now, we've got, we're about half full, at least with applications. And it is an application because we do intend to be very transparent with people if we don't think it's a good fit for them at this time.
Right. Absolutely.
I think, yeah, we want to make sure it's a good fit for all of us.
Yeah. So. This is not a first come, first serve thing.
No, unfortunately. It makes me sad though, because I hate telling people no. Like when they apply to speak, I'm like, and then we have more applications and they're,
right.
So much. I get sweaty. I'm starting to sweat already thinking about
it. Yeah, but you don't have to do that because I'll send out the no's.
Yeah. When people were handing me applications, I was like, oh no, this isn't time. The only thing my role is mostly like almost like a consultant I guess, through this is just you've ran things by me and I've helped with like the marketing part of it because that's where I'm very strong.
Oh my gosh, amazing. It's amazing. You really are a word wizard.
Microsoft Word.
No words, actual words, written words.
Right. But that day I was talking about Microsoft. I just took the application that you had 7 pages and turned it into like 4 pages. And you were like, wow, that's amazing. I said, yeah, I'm a word wizard.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
But you're also a word wizard.
Thank you. I do enjoy that. I do think that was my God-given gift. Like this one will be good with words. And so I'm grateful for it and that I get to use those all the time to use that gift all the time. So yeah, so check out UConference's page. That link will be going up soon to jump on the Q&A if you have questions. And we have an email. You can email, is it academy.com or academy@uconferences.com.
Yep.
You've got questions there, and you can go to uconferences.com/uacademy to get more information and to apply.
Yep. All those things.
All of them. Thanks for being here, Rina.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I will see you